Wah, wah, wah. Drama bin drama. Well, I'm sure most of you have heard the news. Raila Odinga, the presidential candidate for NASA, has withdrawn. Actually, the correct perspective is that Raila has withdrawn and is calling for fresh elections. That is the correct position. As far as politics is concerned, I'd call this move the game shot move. Game shot. What? I don't know where to start. Well, let's get the legal out of the way. Yeah, let's simplify that so that everybody understands what has happened, and so that we can go forward to the politics. Okay? Now, to understand what happens, we need to go back a little to 2013 Supreme Court ruling on the presidential petition, I believe number 5 by Raila Odinga against Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah, I will try and simplify it, make it, we'll get out of there very quickly, but having understood what happened. Okay? Now, first of all, let us understand this. When the Supreme Court writes down something, it's the law. Yeah, and simply put, it's the law. Because this is the highest court in the land. Okay? Kwa hivyo kama wamesema, wamesema. Okay? And that is why after the President Uhuru Kenyatta's election, so-called election win on August 8, 2017 was thrown out, the Jubilee have hired the best legal minds, and they've tried every corner, every whatever to try and get out of that Supreme Court ruling, and it has just come to zero. It's not possible. Not possible. Yeah, and that's why they went to Parliament to do the acrobatics. Anyway, so once the Supreme Court has written down something, it's the law. Now, during the 2013 petition, Willie Mutunga and his bench, by a majority, they unanimously, means all of them agreed that there was no basis for petition against Raila Odinga, although there was overwhelming evidence, although there was evidence thrown out, but that's a story for another day. Let's stick to what we're doing now. Yeah, they agreed unanimously to throw out that petition. Okay? Now, in throwing out the petition in their written judgment, by, I don't know, by some divine intervention, or I don't know by what, they included a small paragraph, a very deadly paragraph in their judgment, okay, on which NASA and Raila Odinga are standing on in his latest legal move, because I'll call it a legal move. The paragraph reads, suppose, however, that the candidates or a candidate who took part in the original election dies, now this is the deadly part, or abandons the electoral quest before the scheduled date, hey, then the provisions of Article 138(5) would become applicable with fresh nominations ensuing. Now, I know a lot of people who listen to this channel don't believe in God. I know a lot of people get very bored when I refer to God. But let me just tell you my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it. My personal opinion is that paragraph was inserted there by God himself in anticipation of 2017. Yeah? Now, if you don't believe, give me another explanation. Because it was not in Raila Odinga's prayers to the court. It came from nowhere. Now, what this paragraph means, as you've heard in plain English, is that there's a provision for a presidential candidate abandoning the elections before the scheduled date, which is exactly what Raila has done. And it also explains that in case that happens, in case a candidate withdraws, yeah, then the provisions of Article 138 subsection 5 kick in, which means that we just go back to the whole process. We start again now from nominations. What? Now, this is a provision that NASA have used to withdraw their candidate Raila Odinga from the race, knowing very well that nobody else can do anything else legal. Yeah, there's no other, no matter how you squirm, you twist, you do what, you rewrite the laws, you go to Parliament, whatever you do, you cannot get out of the fact that the only way out of this action Raila Odinga has taken is to call for brand new presidential election. That means we start from scratch. Yeah, nominations, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and we just start the whole process afresh. So that you understand there's divine intervention in this thing, yeah, and people should just go back to God and ask what God really wants, yeah. So that you understand there's also divine intervention in this, there's something else that happened which is connected to 2013. Okay? Now, you will remember that after the Maraga's judgment, people were saying, oh, you know, all the other presidential candidates should be included. In fact, there's one particular candidate, our court, I think, who is in court even now, yeah, seeking to be included in that presidential election. But IEBC said, no, we'll follow the 2013 ruling, only 2 candidates, Raila and Uhuru. Okay? Now, what is the effect of that? The effect of that is that it has shut the door to any mischief. Yeah, because I'm just thinking in my mind that had there been other candidates and then Raila pulls out, there would have been a strong argument of, kwani the whole election is Raila, so the other candidates can continue. Yeah, there would have been a strong argument for that. But the fact that the IBC insisted we only want 2 candidates, ni kama walijifunga. Now, I know a lot of Jubilee people look at this differently, but the truth of the matter, put yourself in Raila Odinga's shoes. Yeah? The same people who rigged the election on August 8th were in place. The same suppliers, the same everything. Yes? And even people wanted Chiloba removed. People were saying no, because he had a special role to play in the rigging of these elections. Okay? So the whole team was back, ready for season 2. Okay? Now what do you do? In my view, this is the best decision for Kenya. In my view, if I was Raila Odinga, really, there's no other better decision he'd have taken than this one. Okay? Now, why do I say that? By forcing the country into a fresh start, what has happened is that now there's time to clean up. Yes? There's even time, although I doubt that. I was going to say there's time to remove commissioners. Removing commissioners is complicated, yeah? Because even the caretaker president, he has no powers to appoint. Anyway, it gives time for the whole IEBC to be cleaned up, yeah, and for the issues at hand to be cleaned up. I mean, let's just be reasonable. You go down a dark alley somewhere in Buru or Eastlands, and then you're mugged, okay? Then now you insist whoever's in charge, you must have street lights there, yeah? And then now you come back another day and you're robbed the other day, yeah? You come back to the same alley. The street lights are not there. Everything is the same. Wouldn't you be a madman to walk down the same alley again? It's common sense, yeah? Therefore, NASA were really in a very tight position concerning these elections, yeah? Because they had very little room really to maneuver, okay? Now, the game changer was changing the election date, which is actually what has happened here. Yeah, prolonged it, and we're now talking next year, 2018. Yeah, at the earliest, I think. Yeah. So that was the only way out. Okay. Now, there's one other very important implication or consequence of this latest move by Raila Odinga. Okay. Now, it means the status of President Uhuru Kenyatta changes dramatically. He cannot continue to be caretaker president forever. Okay. So what that means is that now, almost without doubt, Kenya must go into a caretaker government situation. Yeah? And I believe it was part of the NASA strategy to force this kind of arrangement. Okay? To have their main competitors out of State House so that we have a caretaker government. Yeah? That is extremely important here. Now, according to the Constitution, Jitayarishe Bwana Justin Muturi, Speaker of the National Assembly, that is the person who will head the caretaker government. Okay, we cannot avoid a caretaker government. Yeah, even if we stretch the law, we stretch it, we force it to fit into our own personal needs and selfish desires. Uhuru Kenyatta cannot be in State House, definitely not beyond 1st of November. There's no way he can be in State House legally. Yeah, in fact, well, there are those who believe even now, yeah, it's not supposed to be there. Okay, however, let us, if we go to the law and even we stretch it to its limit, Uhuru Kenyatta cannot be there beyond 1st of November. No way. Okay? So what that means is that Kenyans have to prepare themselves for a caretaker government. What? Of course, in the days to come, in future recordings, I'm going to elaborate on this because there are some other issues involved. Somebody contacted me and said that, oh, it's not Justin Muturi because It did not win 2/3 majority in the House, and therefore in this case it should have to revert to Chief Justice Maraga. I don't know about that. I'm going to investigate that, yeah, and then I'll get back to you guys on that in a recording later today. Okay, I'm not sleeping until I've done that one. Okay, so don't worry, let me clarify that one. But the long and short of it is that a caretaker government in Kenya is inevitable. It must happen now. Okay, now we're going to take a short break. When we come back, there's plenty to unlock in this decision, because now we have dealt with the basics, the legal, whatever. Now we deal with the politics, and actually the meat is in the politics. Shida iko kwa siasa. Okay, we'll be back in a second. Welcome back. Now, let us not fool ourselves. Let's not be naive. Yes, we know what Jubilee are capable of. Okay, you know, it's very sad. In a situation like this, what would have been ideal for the country is if we would have had somebody who's extremely wise, somebody who's has the interests of the country at heart, you know, a true patriot of the country, a true patriot of Kenya, yeah, an old wise man in State House to an old wise selfless man, yeah, because we have had old men in State House before and there's been chaos. An old wise selfless man in State House, then Kenya would have been very comfortable, because we'd have known whatever decisions would have been taken would have been for the good of Kenya. However, you know the people we have in State House, okay? So it is not, you cannot rule out the possibility that Uhuru Kenyatta could organize for himself to be sworn in tomorrow. You cannot rule out that. And indeed, NASA in making this decision, yes, I noticed the Right Honorable Raila Odinga was a bit tense, uncustomarily tense, when he was making this statement, yeah. It was not a small matter, it's a big matter, yeah, and I'm sure his team fully considered this possibility, okay? Now, what would happen if Uhuru, you know, went ahead and got himself sworn in? Yeah, he'd say, my only opponent has dropped out, and therefore I should now just go ahead and be sworn in as the president. That won't work. And it should be common sense why it cannot work legally, yeah? If this was the original race, that's a different issue. But the election has already been nullified by the Supreme Court, which has ordered a fresh election. The fresh election has not taken place. Yeah, one candidate has withdrawn. It has not taken place. Therefore, there's no way you can be sworn in as the president of Kenya without an election. Who elected you? Pure and simple, who elected you? Yeah. So that will be standing on legal quicksand. Yeah, which is not sustainable. Definitely not sustainable. But you know the kind of radical support, radical advice, radical, let me not mention the other things. Let's just say radical supporters, radical advisors the president has, that cannot be ruled out, okay? But if that happens, that can only mean chaos for the country, okay? Even more worrying for Kenyans is that on receiving this letter from Raila, the IEBC, and you know, on being asked by the press what next, the IEBC said they will consult and get back to the public. Now, what that means, let me just translate that for you into plain English. It means the IEBC is going to consult with Jubilee, and it's going to consult with the executive and then get back to us. That's really what it means. Yeah, and that is the truth. Because anybody who imagines even for 1 minute that the IEBC is neutral, yeah, should have their head examined. It doesn't matter whether they're in Jubilee or whether they're in NASA. Anybody who believes the IEBC is independent, kuna shida kwa kichwa. Kuna shida ya akili hapo. Now, of course, there are a lot of people who are very angry in the country, especially Jubilee supporters. There's even word that there's been demonstrations in Kiambu, angry demonstrations, as to why Raila has pulled out. Yeah. Naturally, it's an angry reaction because people want to get on with their lives. And here is this guy blocking the election. That's how they're thinking. Okay. But hold on a minute. Tuliza Boli. Yeah. Why are we in this problem in the first place? We are not in this problem because of Raila. Are we? Let us just be honest with ourselves. We're in this problem because somebody messed up the August 8th elections. If the IBC had carried out very, straight, transparent elections on the August of 8th, then we would not have this problem. Because what would have happened is that everybody would have been satisfied with the results, yeah? And even if Raila had brought any problems, it would have just been told no. The Supreme Court would have thrown out his petition. Kenyans would have said, no, we can't even join in the street protests. Uhuru won genuinely, yeah? So he's the president, okay? People would have relaxed, yeah? But the fact that he bungled the fact that the IBC bungled the election, the whole mood in the country is anti the IBC and anti the people they were supporting. That's generally the mood in the country. Now, let me just give you a pointer in history. When multi-party returned to Kenya in 1992, we had an election, and there were very many candidates. There was Kenneth Matiba, Mwai Kibaki, there was Raila's father, the late Jaramogi Odinga. There were a lot of candidates, yeah? Now, the Wananchi had said, you people join together and present one presidential candidate so that you defeat Moi, yeah? But because of everybody's ambition, everybody wanted to be president, they couldn't agree on a single presidential candidate, yeah? So when Moi defeated them, yeah, he rigged himself in and defeated them, the public were just fed up with the opposition. Yeah, they were angry at the opposition. The whole mood in the country is that you people refuse to unite. You'd have defeated more easily with your votes combined. Now you're coming back to us to help you to protest. Protest what? Shauri yenyu. You know, that was the feeling in the country. Okay? So, in the same way, had the IBC carried, in fact, not a completely transparent election, but something that was close to transparent, then the mood in the country would have been very different. But what did they do? Massive rigging. You have people in all counties, they receive the election results and they say, no, this is not how we voted. Yeah? In very many parts of the country. You have a polling station with 500 registered voters. Uhuru gets 5,000 votes in that polling station. Yeah? It was a mess. So there's no way Kenyans would accept that. So the problem is not Raila Odinga. The problem is the people who messed up the election on August 8th. Pure and simple. And you can get angry from morning till evening, but that is the truth. Those are the facts. They cannot be denied. Now, I normally like looking at things a bit deeper. What is happening in Kenya is not normal. Okay? The fact that somebody made a decision, wrote a small paragraph in 2013 that has changed everything in 2017, that is not normal. People are not able to look into the future. Yeah? And definitely it's not the devil. Yeah? There's some divine intervention within Kenya. And I've done a separate recording. Actually, I did it before this big news came up. Yeah? And in the recording, I explain what servants of God, real servants of God, not the people who are lying on one side of the political divide emotionally or being pushed by emotion to one side of the political divide. Yeah? Real, serious servants of God. And some of them are not Kenyans and they're not even based in Kenya. Some of them are based very far away. And they were given a word by God concerning Kenya, a country which they have not even visited. Okay? And they just give amazing prophecies of what is happening, which has convinced me that God is involved in this thing. And one thing I can tell you, it is dangerous to get angry. Because when you're getting angry, I think it is a good idea to check the foundation of this thing. Hii kitu yote kiini yake ni nini? That is very important. Yeah? So that you don't get caught on the wrong side of God. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you must support Raila Odinga or you must support Uhuru Kenyatta. No. I'm just saying check the whole thing. Check the foundation of this thing. Kiini ya hii kitu ni nini? What is really happening in Kenya? Yeah. Now it's a fairly long recording. It has part 1, 2, and 3. I've already done it. Shortly after, when I finish this particular recording, it is the next one I'll load. So make sure you catch it, and then you'll understand a bit more of what's happening, and more importantly, a bit more of what you should expect in the next few weeks and months. Yeah, because I'm telling you, kimeumana. That is the truth. I even give advice of what Kenyans should do, yeah, in order to survive this situation, and so on and so forth. I can't repeat what I said in those recordings, but it is very important. I recommend. I've never recommended another recording of mine the way I'm recommending these ones, and you should know. You should stop and ask why, yeah, and you'll be able to find out. Okay, it's very important that you take in those recordings, and then you'll understand the bigger picture. Because here, emotions of, oh, I'm a NASA supporter, oh, I'm a Jubilee supporter, will not help you. Yeah, take that to the bank. It will not help you. You need to know the foundation of this whole thing. Kini yake ni nini haswa. Okay? Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.